continue to work, continue to talk. Great conversations going on. Great conversations.
That are making more money than that teacher who's vested the 20 years.
Plenty of recesses. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, upgrade buildings and consider new building plan. Does that make sense? Make environment student friendly. Do you see anything else related to facilities that you want to?
I do have, but I wanted to kind of hear what's missing. And maybe I'm wrong, but honestly, I think it's time for the school district to start looking at 2 high schools instead of 3. 2 large high schools instead of 3. This is a town of roughly 70,000 people. I think the 2 larger high schools would be much better than the 3 that we have. I don't want to suggest we close down Lafayette, Benton, or Central. Somebody needs to start thinking into the future that 20 years from now we have 2 hard.
I think cutting back on spending, because if you cut a high school, that just leaves you on maintenance, that leaves you on the bills you have to pay just to keep the lights on, the water maybe everything. And if you want just 2 schools, that would be more cost efficient. Just be a little bit, just be a lot more crowded.
We're down to 60 seconds and we're moving. Spokesperson, get ready. Spokesperson, get ready. I need to make an announcement and I'll give it to you. We'll start with Leo. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to report. I hate to stop this great conversation, but if we don't, I will not be able to get you out of here at 8 o'clock. So we need to stop now. Now here's how we're going to do this. 2 things that are very important. Can I have your attention? 2 things that are very important. Lois will be on this end, and when the recorder, if the recorder will stand up and be ready to report out on this end, and then Lee will be on that corner with the recorder ready to report out. And all we have time for you to report out on tonight from task 1 is the first question and the second question, and then on task 2, just the top item that you came up with. On only number 2, just the top item. And this is the most important thing from that reporting out. When you finish reporting out, I need to make sure I get the light colored yellow paper. I need to get that. If you throw it in the table with all the other papers, we're going to miss that valuable information that you shared all evening. So once you finish reporting out, I'm going to come behind the speakers and I'm going to pick those up because I want to make sure that we have those because that's where the good information is. Spokespersons, are you ready? Do you have your outside voice? Okay. All right, we'll start on this end. Spokesperson, we want you up. And she's ready to go.
We have to have you listening to, I know you want to keep going, but we do want you to listen to the spokesperson. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going over task 1. Okay. Our biggest surprise was the percent of free and reduced lunches, and the large percentage of kindergartners who are not prepared. Biggest concerns were the dropout rates and researching why they're dropping out and kindergartners not being prepared. And then on task 2, again, the 52% not prepared for kindergarten. How many preschoolers do we have? How many come to kindergarten? What have been without having been in preschool?
Okay, biggest surprise from earlier was the lack of technology with regards to spending in this district. Felt like that was a key issue. And then the lack of readiness for early childhood education was a major issue. Biggest concern was probably lack of resources with regard to reading and the cutting of jobs in that area. And then overall poverty as a community, and then the lack of parenting in this community. We felt like, we talk about biggest concern, educating parents. I think we focus too much sometimes on just the children as opposed to, at the end of the day, it really comes down to mom and dad. I'm not their mom or dad. And the next thing is, under task 2, we took a look at quality staff and staff development. Felt like teachers are overworked and underpaid. Seems like things just continue to, more and more things continue to get thrown on us. We believe we're a little top-heavy on administration. And then we talked about maybe we need to take a look at maybe some of the positions that have been created throughout this district with regards to what makes sense and what doesn't. So those are the things that we focused on.
Under task 1, our biggest surprise was that 52% of kindergartners are not ready for school, and we set it as 1 and 2. That's really shocking. Our next biggest concern is the lack of funding. And so then that also would, under the task 2, we zeroed in on the funding and resources and how to get the community support for funding.
At our table, we talked about the biggest surprise being the low amount of funding for technology and the amount of free and reduced lunch. Our biggest concern is the number of students not ready for kindergarten. And I'm gonna address facilities. We were concerned because so many of them are so old that our pride suffers in our district sometimes. We're not keeping up with surrounding districts. We're starting in mid-August. No air conditioning is unbearable sometimes. And one of the people at our table was talking about, he works at the hospital. It's hard to attract doctors when we're not funding our schools.
I guess I see a theme developing here. Our biggest surprise was the free and reduced lunch at 60%. Our biggest concern was kindergartner readiness at, like they said, 1 and 2. And that leads into our task 2. Our questions were under early childhood education, why do we not have early childhood education for every student? How much would it cost to fund education for every child individually for early childhood education? And then how do we fund that?
Okay, our biggest surprise, there are quite a few of them actually, but one of the biggest ones was the fact that we did not meet the standard in math, even though we have such difficult, rigorous testing. We are curious about why we did not meet the math standards. And our biggest concern was the budget for the future. How are we going to fund our schools? It's a major concern. As far as the other areas, we also have some questions regarding the 52% children coming into kindergarten that are not ready. We would like to know, of those 52%, did they attend the preschool programs? Did they not attend? What's going on with them? And is there any association with the free and reduced lunch increases there? The one other thing that we had an opportunity to discuss briefly was the fact that St. Joe does a fantastic job taking care of the buildings that they do have. They're beautiful schools, and we appreciate that.